Thank you, John and Pat and Andre and everyone involved in putting together the Digital 360 Summit. I am truly honored for your recognition, and I have to say I'm a bit humbled by it as well. I'm especially honored to be part of a summit hosted by Audrey Carvallo because, as all of us are familiar, he is known as the godfather of smart energy, particularly because of his groundbreaking work in Austin. And I'm also honored to have been recommended for this award by two of the gentlemen that I respect most in this industry, former Chairman Pat Wood and Jon Wellinghoff. I'm really sorry that I can't be with you today. I really would have liked to have been there to visit with everyone, particularly during the pandemic. It's really hard to give up any opportunity to see people in person, and I wish you all well during the conference. I have to say that being here for me today is a little bit like celebrating the arc of the power industry over the last 35 years. When I first met Pat Wood, when he was elected to be chairman of FERC, we were just at the beginning of really trying to make markets work in the United States, particularly wholesale markets, because we all recognize that introducing competition and the competitive pressures and neutrality we could achieve through independent system operation and formation of markets, we would benefit consumers. And sort of, I would say everyone saw that, but a few incumbents who were a bit challenged, but I think we got most of them there. But the biggest thing is that Pat's groundbreaking work in the formation of the markets is what led the industry into the 21st century, both in the US, and I think it's not really recognized internationally. And what we learn through markets is that through innovation, through collaboration, through independence, we can drive huge amount of efficiencies and changes. And in fact, I remember, and I know there are challenges today, but at one point it became really clear that through markets, we can interconnect renewables and certainly added the dimension of storage much more readily than we could through more standardized vertical regulated entities. And that's because we gave an opportunity for people to have better information, better access, and better tools. And that really was critical as we got to the next stage of the markets, which were led by Jon Wellinghoff. And we started adding demand response, and we recognized that by including demand into the equation, we can make the markets even more efficient, and we can drive even better value to consumers. And we could also look for innovation in terms of transmission and the work that John did there, and certainly, again, the extension of how storage has to play a critical role in the 21st century grid. And so, when I look back, I think about all of those efforts, which I know were a hard slog, and there's probably lots of trees killed along the way with all the documentation we did. But the success of those regulatory transformations really did contribute to where we were today. Without question, by introducing competition into the wholesale markets, we saw those significant benefits of innovation. But we also saw the importance of getting better information and better collaboration as elements to drive us towards the future of the power systems. And I don't think we can envision how we could tackle what Secretary Granholm has called the moonshot for the 21st century, the decarbonization of the power system, without this groundbreaking reform on how we introduce innovation into the power sector. So for me, I think that we have to say that achieving decarbonization is only going to happen because we took these steps. And then more importantly, my recent experience in Australia, where we are seeing decarbonization happen faster than almost anywhere else in the world, and at the same time, the complexity of managing a power system in the midst of massive climate change, that through this next piece is not only is the process of digitalization as an essential vehicle to achieve it. So it's markets, innovation, and now digitalization. And the reason for that, I think, is there's multiple, but I picked the top four. The first is we have to get visibility into the whole of the system. Now that we know that we have to manage renewable generation, storage, distributed energy resources, it's really becoming a mechanism that we need to make sure see the whole of the system. As a regulator, we used to always talk about information asymmetry. But the fact is that information asymmetry assumes that one player, in that case the utility, had all the information it needed. But as a matter of fact, nobody has all the information they needed, and in fact our tools are incapable of providing that. And so we need to improve that. And through digitalization and the better use of data and the better ability to use both hardware and software on the system, we're going to be able to get these whole of system views, which will drive efficiency. The second is we absolutely have to introduce machine learning and artificial intelligence throughout the network. You know, we are going from hundreds of thousands of generators to billions of devices that are going to have to be optimized and orchestrated. We can't do that with the tools that we've had historically, but also we can't do it with a command and a control approach to the dispatch of generation. It's just too much information. With advanced artificial intelligence and machine learning, we have the ability to look at automation for quicker response and certainly more security in the grid as a whole. So it's going to be critical that we give the tools to both the grid operators, system operators, and everyone across the value chain to get there. And in a way, we have to think about it that for the 21st century grid and for the decarbonized grid, really data is the fuel of the future, because it's through this information and how we use weather as our largest fuel source that we're going to be able to achieve what we need to achieve. So it's a big data problem. It's a problem that AI and ML are particularly suited to help us solve. And it's a way, frankly, for us to make it easier for the people who actually have to operate the system and make sure that it's responding the way it needs to. The other piece is that I think digitalization is going to be really important to solve the efficiency and equity issues. We simply need to move faster. We can't create leave behinds in the future of the green energy grid like we have the digital divide, and we have to solve it from the beginning. To do that means driving costs out of the system wherever we can, but more importantly, allowing for fast learnings whenever we can. And through digitalization, virtualization, simulation, we have all the capability to make sure there are no leave behinds. And that really brings me to what I think is the urgency and for me, the eagerness of why I left the energy industry and joined X, the Moonshot Factory. In my new role, I really get to sit on a perch of taking a look around how can we use the best of what we know about digitalization, about AI, about simulation, about machine learning to really support the future of the power system. For that reason, we're working hard with industry partners to start to explore and develop the data acquisition tools we're going to need to get that full of system view, the visualization capabilities we're going to need to make it easy, the models we're going to need to speed up how we get things solved, optimization that looks across things, not just price and security, but also emission reduction, resiliency, all the elements, and certainly services. And then the simulation so that we can test the what if, so we could see what will happen, so we could see into the future a bit better and make sure that we have a single source of truth that can be then shared and speed up the process of integrating and transforming the grid. We need to make sure, and that's our focus, is that the people who have to make decisions, whether it's government decisions or policy-making decisions or system operator decisions, they all have and investors and renewable developers, they have the information they need to be able to act with confidence and that there is that sense of integrity in the information we're all using. That's why, I'm really pleased to actually be here. I think that as we move forward with decarbonization, it's the work of 360, it's the work of all of you thinking about how we use the best we can of merging everything we know about power systems, all the hardware we're going to need, and the software and analytic capabilities we're going to need to really run the most complex machine in the world, and not just here, but everywhere. So thank you very much for giving me this honor. I really wish I were there because I'm sure not only is the discussions very interesting, but also all the side conversations that I'm really sorry to be missing. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the near future. And thank you again, Pat and John, and Andre. I'm deeply honored. Thanks. That's it.